Welcome back. As the homegoing service for Matthew was now over, Missy would soon be left all alone in her house. Sandra would be one of the last to leave, as she would return home in Detroit. Missy's other children had already left, including Maggie, who had left earlier in the day. Missy had mixed emotions about Sandra leaving, because she would soon have the house all to herself. Quite a difference from the crowds of people that flowed through her home over the past several days. Before Sandra left, Missy said she could take her to the airport to catch her flight to Bermuda on the Friday coming up for her weekend trip to that tropical paradise. Missy had a long discussion with Sandra before she left. "Sandra, I'd be more than happy to take you to the airport for you to make your flight."
"Oh, Mancy, thank you so much. I could never repay you for helping me."
Don't worry about it. Just be ready Friday morning and I'll take you."
"Okay, Mancy, I'll be ready when you get to my apartment, but things just won't be the same without Matthew being around. But don't worry. When I return from my trip to Bermuda, I'll come by to see you often, to make sure you're doing okay without Matthew being here. You can depend on me to do that, Mancy."
Thank you so much, Sandra. You're very gracious. But you need to just take care of yourself. Anyway, I know you have to leave now, and I appreciate all that you've done even before the passing of Matthew. Just let me know the specific time you want me to come to take you to the airport. You don't want to miss your flight.
"Okay, Mancy. I'll be calling you about the best time for you to come and get me, and I'll be waiting for you on Friday when you pick me up, and I'll see you then."
Missy would soon be left alone in her home for the first time in about a week. Since Matthew's passing, the house was almost constantly occupied by relatives, friends, including Sandra, and church members. Missy had to clear away many flowers and plants that were left at the house as a symbol of people's love for Matthew and their concern for Missy as she moved forward in her life. As Sandra was no longer with her, Missy felt she needed to get away from her house for a while. She decided to drive down to the local grocery store that was only about a mile from her house. As Missy came into the store, she was not certain about what she would pick up. She headed towards the produce section and saw an open refrigerated area of a nice assortment of green vegetables. Just beyond that, Missy noticed a flowering plant, one that was much taller than the other plants in that area. The plant was situated around a pole that had an orange ball on top of it, and there was a straw hat on top of the ball, which appeared to be strikingly similar to the straw hat Matthew had worn when going to town and to other places performing his errands. Missy was so intrigued by the plant, that she took it and made her way to the purchase counter. What Sandra had said to herself earlier about Missy not showing emotion in response to Matthew's death would not apply to her at this time. Tears began to build in Missy's eyes, and she felt all the emotion she had kept contained over the past few days slowly rising within her. She moved as quickly as she could to the checkout, hoping to make the purchase before she would start to weep openly. Soon, Missy made it to her vehicle, where she no longer held back the tears. After she entered her car and sat behind the steering wheel, she allowed herself to mourn even more than she had back at the store. The tears she shed represented an emotional release of her spirit that she sorely needed. When Missy returned home, she placed the plant above the huge fireplace in between two large windows in her bedroom as her personal memorial to Matthew. At that point, now being alone in a house for the first time without Matthew being there, tears again began to flow.